Hey there, welcome to the Deliver on Your Business podcast, where you are the boss. I'm Ron from EntreCourier.com. Entree is from entrepreneur, for somebody who is in business for themselves. And here's the deal, folks. If you're an independent contractor, you are operating a business, ready or not. So that makes you an Entree Courier. Welcome to the club. This podcast is here to help you think like a business owner and to thrive in your business. So let's get started, shall we? Mike, what day is it? It's Hump Day, Courier Nation. It is the hump day of hump days because we are in the middle of the week and we are in the middle of our series, and it's all downhill from here. Okay, that might not sound right. I certainly don't want the podcast to ever feel like it's going downhill, right? Today is episode 17 of our 31-day Courier MBA series, and today we launched the first of 6 episodes where we talk about the financial side of your business. It's all about the money, baby. Show me the money. Deliver on Your Business is a weekly podcast, but we are starting off with daily episodes on this 31-day Courier MBA series about mastering your business attitude. You can go back and you can listen to previous episodes at deliveronyourbusiness.com, and you can get a bit more power out of the podcast, I think, by listening to those earlier episodes because they do help build a foundation for future episodes. You can also listen in on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, any of the major podcast sites. Now, there is something very important as we start to dig into the financial side of things that I want to say. I'm sharing from what I've learned. I'm helping you get an understanding of how money works in an independent contractor setting, but this is not professional advice, okay? I can share information from my experience as a business manager and as an entrepreneur, but if you want specific advice for your situation, you really do want to find a tax professional who can help you more directly. So I have a question for you, Courier Nation. What did you make last week? What did you make yesterday? What did you make last month? You know, for a lot of you, it's probably not as much as you think it was. It's certainly not what you received from Grubhub, DoorDash, Postmates, Uber Eats, Caviar, Instacart, Shipped, any of those. It's not the money that you received as an independent contractor, and for some drivers, it's maybe only a fraction of that. As an independent contractor, as a self-employed person, you are a business owner, and what a business owner makes is not the money coming in, it's the money that is left over. It's not the revenue, it's the profit. This is the first of 6 episodes where we talk about the money side of running your delivery business. And if you've been listening to previous episodes, you already heard me talk a lot about profit and profitability. And this is really an important concept. You've really got to grasp this. In fact, as a business owner, you need to get into this mindset where you are thinking about profit, not just the money coming in. You want to think about the bottom line, not the top line. You want to have a profit and loss mindset. So let's talk about some of the advantages of having a profit and loss mindset instead of just a payday mindset. You feel more like a business owner. Mindset is everything, folks. It really is. And when you start to kind of develop this identity more of a business owner, you don't get stuck feeling like I'm just a delivery hack, you know? You start seeing yourself as a business owner, and that gives you a feeling, I think, of being more in control. You know how you're doing because you're really keeping track of how you're doing. You can see what you're really making. You're not worried about, what's going to sneak up on me, okay? And sometimes knowing how you are doing, it really helps you understand if it's enough. It helps you evaluate whether or not this is where you ought to be, because sometimes you might find out it really isn't enough and you've got to find something else. And that's okay. It's better to know that now than to just keep slogging away and not getting any traction. Knowing what you are really earning helps you to make adjustments. It helps you improve. Are your expenses too high? You can adjust. Is the revenue too low? You can see if there are some adjustments that you can make. Now, maybe you're getting like a mortgage, or you're applying for something like an income-based scholarship for yourself or a family member, anything that has to do with your income. Actually knowing your profit is more important in a lot of these situations than just what the money is coming in. It also helps you be better prepared for taxes. You get a picture of what you're going to be taxed on. I know that like a lot of business terminology, we can feel like profit and loss. That kind of sometimes feels over our heads, and maybe that's one of those terms that's kind of a make your eyes glaze over terms. It can even be intimidating, but it's really not that difficult. It's all it is it's about adding up the money that's coming in and you're adding up the expenses that go out. All it boils down to is you list your income, you list your expenses, you add each of those up. If you had more revenue than expenses, that's a profit. If you had more expenses than revenue, that's a loss. It really is that simple. As a self-employed person, the important figure is not the top line, that money that you got from all of the different companies, but it's the bottom line. It's what is left over after the expenses, and that's the mindset you want to get into. That's what you're thinking about. The important thing is that you've got to track both of your income and your expenses, and you want to track it well. Your expenses are anything that you've got to pay out as part of doing delivery. If you purchase bags, your cell holders, you sell chargers, even the percentage of what you use your cell phone for business. And then, of course, there's your car. Your biggest expense, of course, is going to be your car if you drive for your deliveries. Now, there's so much involved in evaluating the cost of your car. We're going to have a separate episode on that. We will do that in tomorrow's episode, in episode 18. But folks, it is incredibly crucial that you understand that your car costs you more than you probably think that it does. I really encourage you to listen in tomorrow on episode 18, because you've got to know that your car costs an awful lot of money, and it's a lot more than just the gas. There are three different kind of levels of car costs. You've got your perceived expenses, and basically that's the money that comes out of your pocket right now. And most of us think that way. Usually all we think about is the gas. You've got your actual costs. Now, this is when you throw everything in that is involved with your car: your gas, your maintenance, your repairs, your insurance, interest on your car loan, depreciation, which means, how much is the value of your car dropping. You want to keep track of all of that stuff. You want to know all of these different things and add those up and track them. And then there is the IRS expense. And this is where basically this year you can claim 58 cents a mile. That's the standard mileage deduction. Now, understand that you cannot claim both of the actual expenses and that 58 cents. It's whichever one is higher. If your car is valuable enough, you might be surprised that you're actually closer to that 58 cents. But what you want to do is you want to track both of those. Now, we're going to dig in deeper into figuring out what your actual cost per mile is tomorrow. But I'm going to say this now. I think a lot of times we look at that 58 cents a mile and we think, boy, that's really nice. That's good. They give us a really good break. But folks, think about this. When is the IRS ever nice? They did not come up with 58 cents a mile to be nice. They came up with 58 cents a mile because for a lot of people, that's closer to what it really costs. Now, for some of us, if you got an older car or something like that, it's not that much. But you've got to understand that the reason they come up with such a high number is it really does cost you a lot of money to use your car. So just as I was saying, folks, you've got to track it. You've got to track it all. Track your miles, track your car expenses, track all of your other expenses. Just track it all. Track it as it happens, and don't wait until tax day, because it's too easy to forget things when you wait that long, okay? Now, there's a few different ways that you can track your expenses and your income. You could do it old school. People used to, back in the day, people just used a handwritten ledger, and there's some accounting schools that they still have you do that just so that you understand how that works. but use a notebook or something, and you have different pages for different kinds of things, for your different income categories, your different expense categories, and you just list it all and add it up. Then there's kind of the new old school, which is basically the same thing, but you're doing it on a spreadsheet. And the nice thing is at least the spreadsheet will add those totals up for you as you go. The other thing you can do is you could use a bookkeeping program, and there's all sorts that are out there. There's a couple that are really structured just for an independent contractor. Now, a lot of you already use Stride. There's a mileage tracking app called Stride, and they do have parts of that app that will also allow you to track your other expenses. And if you're a little intimidated by bookkeeping programs, Stride is a lot easier to use. It's very limited when it comes to those bookkeeping programs, but for just doing delivery stuff, that might be a good place to start. There's another good one, and the reason that I say it can be a good one is that it is structured around self-employed, and that is QuickBooks Self-Employed. It's an online or cloud-based program. You can get an app for it. I think the mileage tracking option on it is better than Stride's for a few reasons, but usually what they're going to do is they're going to start off for a few months at half price, but it tends to settle in around $10 per month. And it does more than the Stride, and it's better recognized by tax pros. So for some of you, that $10 a month might feel like a good investment, okay? And then, of course, you can always get into some more full-blown accounting packages. And if you're just doing delivery work, I'm not sure if it's necessary. I think here is where that's going to come in handy is, let's say maybe if you listen to episode 7, we talked about an exit plan. We talked about what is life going to be like after delivery. And, if you're one of these people where the independence of this kind of gig work, it gets addictive. It's kind of like a gateway drug is what I call it to more of an entrepreneurial life. Then, if you think you might be branching out into other types of things, you might want to get a little more familiar with some of those programs. Like I use one that is called Wave, W-A-V-E. It's more full-featured, and it's free, which is nice, right? One other thing that I do, and this goes back to episode 8, where I strongly recommend that you track your performance, and you track it on a day-by-day basis. I keep a spreadsheet with my daily numbers. Now, I don't include other costs in this spreadsheet. It is just my miles. But what I do then is I list it, and I've got totals for the week, for the month, for the year. And what it does is it lets me get a quick look at how did I do. And it tells me what my actual profit was. And basically that's the money that actually affects me, what I really have left over. It also tells me the taxable profit. So that I've got an idea of what I might be looking at for taxes coming up. It calculates all those things. It just gives me a good snapshot. Now, knowing what you really make, it's huge. So start paying attention, start tracking, start thinking. Think in the mindset of what you earn is your profit, not the money that you're getting from any one delivery company. Folks, that's going to wrap it up for today. But I ask you to let me know any thoughts you've got, any ideas, any comments, feedback, questions. If you have things that you would like to be addressed in future episodes, let me know on all those things. You can go to our contact page, go to deliveronyourbusiness.com, click on contact, and that'll let you email, that'll let you leave a voicemail. I'll have a link to this episode's page where I always keep kind of a overview of what we talked about. It's not necessarily word for word, but on that you can leave comments there as well. I want to ask one favor of you, and I only like to ask this if you feel that I've earned the right to ask it. Did any of this information help you out? Is there anything in this podcast, in this episode, other episodes, that's making a difference for you? Does the EntreCourier.com website provide helpful ideas and information that help you with your delivery business? If the answer is yes to any of those, could you please spread the word? Let people know about us. If you know other couriers that are doing delivery for any of these delivery companies as independent contractors, can you tell them about Deliver on Your Business and about EntreCourier.com? Share us on social media. You can leave reviews on iTunes or Stitcher, and those reviews help us get found. The more people who know about us, the more people we can help out to help them take control. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for spreading the news. One last thing that I ask you is, I ask this, I beg this, I encourage this. Go. Take control of your life, your career, your business as an independent contractor. Go and be the boss.